Capitalism is about the ownership of basically some kind of tool, some kind of resources in order to obviously make a profit using it effectively or through some kind of innovative process. So in a way, it's the acquisition of resources and tools in order to make some kind of product or service out of that and make a profit. Greed, on the other hand, can be synonymous to the terms of excess, hunger, voracity, gluttony, self-indulgence, perhaps insatiability, but the key word here with regards to greed is having excessive need to control or hoard things. Greed applies to wanting too much of it. It's about hoarding more than what we really need to live happily or at least enjoyably. Once I saw this picture of two cheetah brothers that basically were holding this impala. They were not really hurting this deer simply because the cheetah brothers were not hungry. In other words, they were not wasting this animal, even though they could kill the animal, but they chose not to. So I think that is the opposite of greed. The question becomes, are capitalism and greed or self-indulgence sustainable over time? Can capitalism and greed be managed or at least be balanced effectively? Obviously the answer here is yes, we can do that and we should do that. Capitalism, which can be a very, very good system for progress and development and for entrepreneurship, can also lead to increased levels of corruption. At least in those environments where the rule of law is not very strong and when the inequality between the rich and poor is great. Unfortunately, according to Robert Reich, 95% of the economic gains since the economic recovery in 2009 have gone to the top 1% of the wealthiest Americans. The median household income for Americans continues to drop. The number of people on poverty continues to increase. The wealthy people's income over the last 30 years in the United States has increased by over 400%. At the meantime, the bottom 50% of the population's income in the US has decreased by 30%. That's an enormous gap. Today, the top 1% of the wealthiest Americans tend to own about 30% of the country's assets. So, excessive greed is what we're talking about here. Excessive greed in the profit motive can lead or tempt some individuals to take shortcuts. Mahatma Gandhi, who is very well respected throughout the world, once said that earth provides enough to satisfy every man's needs, but not enough for every man's greed. You see, we have plenty of resources, obviously, in this society, although it's limited, but there are plenty of resources for you and I to enjoy, and we must do it in such a way to where other generations after us can also enjoy the same resources. You see, we should not be worshiping money. Money is only a resource. It is a means to an end and not an end in itself. People have said that money can buy you a bed, but it cannot buy you a good night's sleep. Money can buy you a clock, but it cannot increase your time. We all have the same 24 hours. We must use it effectively. Money can buy you a book, but not necessarily wisdom or knowledge. Money can buy you a position, but not necessarily respect. That has to be earned. Money can buy us medicine when we're sick, but it cannot give us good health. Money can buy you blood, but not necessarily life. And obviously, money can even buy you romance, but not necessarily love, which is what we're really after in most cases. So capitalism tends to embrace a world with limitless boundaries, accumulation and speed. It is the excessive accumulation that is really called or considered greed here. The reality is that everything in life has limitations, and we must be careful to remember that. If we're not thinking in terms of balance, in terms of limitation, then capitalism and greed are not sustainable over time. The idea here is to create sustainable forms of economic systems whereby everybody's acting in a socially responsible manner for the current generation as well as keeping the future generations in mind. A billionaire had died. These two friends were talking about how he died and when he died. One friend told the other, "Did you know that he died yesterday?" The friend says, "No, I did not know." "Wow, he was the richest man in this area, in this city. How much did he leave behind?" The friend responded by saying, "All of it." You see, nobody takes their possessions, materialistic things, with them when they depart this world. As they say, in the long term, everyone dies and leaves this world pretty much in the same manner. Lonely, and their souls usually rest 6 feet under, or at least nearby, depending on your personal beliefs. Everything in our life is a reflection of the choices we have made in the past. If we want different outcomes and better results, then we must make different and well-informed choices to make the future a little bit brighter for ourselves and for the future generations to come. We can give up, give in, or give it our all. Society deserves that we give it our all and then some. We must make a choice to take a chance for sustainability, or our society will not change for the better. There are two things to remember when it comes to greed. The way you manage when you have nothing determines what kind of leader you're considered to be in society. And the way you behave when you have everything determines what kind of leader you will be in society and how people will remember you. Good luck giving it your all. Thank you.